Interviewed me at the go-karting, and you said to me I looked pretty down, and I'd had the news that the ward had played unregistered that just before that interview, and I was very down for 3 or 4 days. But obviously, James Jennings and the CEO and the owner have done an internal inquiry. We've looked into the reasons why it happened. It's a terrible thing to take, to think that we've taken a point away from the players and the supporters. I think it's a bit hard. We didn't gain anything from the game at Quins, and Quins got a full bonus point. But there have been cases of it before. The RFU have obviously stuck with what they've given out before. It's happened the last 4 seasons, believe it or not. Bristol, Leicester twice, Saracens. There's a problem with this dual registration. It's all revolved around that, and we've made a massive error. It's a massive error in terms of the outcome, but really it was a clerical error for forgetting to send a fax, or not realising the player wasn't registered to send the fax on a Thursday. There was no way we tried to cheat or do anything deceiving. Rob's our player, it's just that he was out on loan in Manchester. And, it's very, very disappointing. But if we're all honest, if we don't make the top 4, it's not because of that 1 point in many ways. It's because of there's opportunities through the seasons that we've all made mistakes, and, whether we've missed a tackle or whether we didn't take a bonus point win, whether someone's missed a kick, collectively we take responsibility. But I can tell ultimately I take responsibility for the point being deducted, the director of rugby, and some harsh lessons to be learnt from this for all involved.
Is that the case, though, that a fax wasn't sent? Because we've seen it with Bury in the FA Cup years ago. Droylsden this year, if you remember, were knocked out the FA Cup for a similar thing. It's a schoolboy error, isn't it, not sending administration? And will anyone take blame in particular? Will there be any, you sometimes see punishment afterwards, or is it a case of get everyone together, forget about it?
No, I don't think it'll be forgotten about. I think there'll be an internal inquiry that's happening right now. We've already been through a process with the chief executive and myself and the staff involved, and obviously it's not taken lightly by the owner and by the chief executive or by myself. And I take responsibility, as I said, as the director of rugby. But the people involved. It's just as simple as one person making an error. It's accumulation of things. It's accumulation of things that have happened. It's quite remarkable the way they've slipped through small cracks, and this happened. As I said, it's been a real bad 4 weeks. I've had a lot of things to deal with. We've had sight-ins, we've had player injuries, we've had players away on the test duty, and then this came along as well. And we've had people doing the same job for the last 5-6 years, and have never made an error. And unfortunately, at the moment, that's happened. But we've looked at the process, and we'll make sure everything that needs to be put in place will be. And obviously, the best we can do is make sure it doesn't ever happen again. So,
last question on that. It is going to be appealed, because, like you said, 72nd minute, you lost the game 31-15. You got nothing from it. In hindsight, that seems harsh, doesn't it?
It is very harsh, and £5,000 as well. But what we've said is punish the staff, punish the club, but don't punish the players and the supporters. But as I said earlier, they've set a precedent. The precedence has been set with the 4 other clubs. The last 4 years this has happened, and those 4 clubs have been dealt the same punishment. So we're going to, the chief executive will decide whether we appeal. He'll make that decision soon. Really, I don't want to, disrespect the RFU. They've got protocols. We've made a mistake, but it does seem very harsh to think. It's not as if we've tried to bring a player in to make us better or to deceive the fact. The simple facts were we had no numbers that week for that game against Quins. We need a hooker on the bench named adequate to do the job as a hooker, as RFU rules. You need to name a proper hooker suitably required to that position. Obviously Dave Ward hadn't played for us very much, but he was that player here. We did that without realising that his registration was still held at Manchester, or he was on loan at Manchester. Without going into too much detail, but that's sort of what happened, and the miscommunication then between 3 or 4 people.